Solving a violent death is some of the toughest work police departments have to do. Death investigations require specialized skills, patience, and often experience to solve tough cases, knowing which facts mean something and which others are circumstantial. Marie Jones's neighbors hadn't heard from her in almost 2 days. She was a prostitute, but all the same she had friends and people who cared, and no one knew where she was. Her landlord finally knocked on her apartment door to find it unlocked. When she walked in, she found Jones's drawers had been rummaged through. Obviously, she had been drinking and smoking. But it wasn't until she opened the closet that she found Jones's body, her throat slashed, a bloody knife. It looked like suicide, but detectives started to see a different narrative.
You also have a stain on the rug, so it looks like the person went from over here by the chair towards, it looks like you have blood right outside the door there.
The story Jones's date told police wasn't adding up. He said she was really drunk and took her own life in the closet. The clues in her apartment, though, tell an even more violent story.
It's more consistent with something occurring over near the chair and her ending up in the room. And then see the drawers, all the drawers are open like somebody was searching for something.
Detective Gary Childs works homicide for Baltimore County. He thinks Jones was murdered by her date. Well, that's the story. In a nutshell, anyway.
It's really extraordinary to see the way these homicide detectives take to these. You know, you think of hard-boiled detectives and being all seasoned and cynical, but you know, they totally, absolutely get into it.
Bruce Goldfarb is the special assistant to the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. In a room just off the lobby are 3 walls filled with dioramas called nutshells. Each of them, viewed behind glass, spell out the story of a violent death, either by accident, suicide, or murder.
The essence of a forensic investigation are unchanged, and it begins with observing the scene, the crime scene. So this is the essence of death investigation.
These scenes were created in the 1930s and 40s by a woman named Frances Glessner Lee, a then millionairess who spent the latter part of her life creating these shadow boxes of unexplained death scenarios based on true stories of the day. The detail so extraordinary, she had a specialty carpenter on staff to create a virtual reality before anyone knew of such a thing.
She hand-whittled clothespins, she hand-rolled teeny little cigarettes, the light switches go up and down, the latch on the cabinets work, and these sorts of things which really work towards helping you suspend disbelief and get immersed and surrounded into it.
The purpose was to train homicide detectives back when there was no training. Part of a once-a-year homicide seminar held at first at Harvard University and then, since Lee's death, now here at Maryland. Police from around the world still attend the week-long course, are assigned a nutshell, and must eventually present what they feel the solution is. But the only one who knows for sure what happened in all of these scenes is Administrator Jerry D. And you're the only one with the solutions?
Yeah. and yes. But I will make sure before they put that on my tombstone, the nutshell man, that they're passed on for generations, you know, to enjoy.
Because for 70 years now, the solutions have been kept under lock and key, with only one person entrusted to know Glessner Lee's story behind each nutshell, protected so thousands of detectives could experience and learn from them.
You just don't look at something once and you walk away and say, got it. You know, you're forced to look at it more than once and go over it and make sure.
Looking for details in a scene painstakingly handcrafted to be full of them. From the tiny rip-away calendars on the wall, to the custom linens on the beds, to the fruit on the table and the view out the window. Artful precision, teaching a time-tested skill. Still solving the crimes of today with the clues from yesterday.
People focus on how old they are, but really, you know, they're not that far removed from how people live today. I mean, if you put a TV set, cell phones, computers, and a couple of these things, it might pass for the way people live today. It's really not that far. It's not that much different.
I guess the anatomy of murder is still the same, right?
It is still the same. Some things don't change, and unfortunately, violent death is one of them.
Now, this homicide seminar is about to turn 70 years old. It is taught once a week, every April. And again, they get homicide detectives from all over the world signing up to attend this seminar.
Absolutely amazing. Little dollhouses like. So you have detectives coming from all over the world. How many get it right?
Well, Jerry says most cops get in the ballpark, and that's good enough. They rarely reveal the exact solution, so to keep the integrity of these nutshells, he did say some of the best performers, and this is interesting and funny, are reporters that look at these things. I'm not going to tell you whether or not we got it right.
Okay, all right. I'll ask you later. So how much is it worth? How much are these
Well, these
nutshells
things,
worth?
this whole thing is priceless, right? In fact, when the medical examiner's office moved to their new facility on West Baltimore Street, they had a special room designed to store these nutshells. There are about 19 of them in total, and they really are an art collection that they keep very close watch over.
Amazing. Great story. Thanks a lot.